Okay, there are two things in my business that I am not proud of. The first is how much money that I've left on the table because I didn't charge enough the first 5 or 6 years. Now, the second is I had a customer who refused to pay me, and there was absolutely nothing that I could do about it. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about all the money that I left on the table. That just hurts too much. But I am going to talk about the time I had a customer who not only wrongly accused us of damaging their property when we were pressure washing their house, but also refused to pay their bill. So let me set the stage. Okay, this has been a longtime customer of ours. Back when I had my landscape maintenance business, they were one of our regular accounts. They were on a yearly contract, which means that they paid for a year of our service in advance. And we maintained their property 38 times per year. During the summer and during the spring, we came weekly, and then we shifted to a bi-weekly schedule during the winter and the fall. By all accounts, a relatively easy customer, very low maintenance. And like I said, they pay their contract out in advance. They never complain, which are all great traits and customers that I love. So we had them on a recurring schedule for pressure washing as well. Now they would get their house and their driveway pressure washed once a year. And then later on in the year, they would have just their house washed. So this was the second time that we were out there pressure washing. And like I said, this was about 8 or 9 years ago. And so I have implemented a lot of things since then into my business to help it run smoother, to help streamline the daily operations, and really just to prevent a lot of things from happening based on my experiences and all the things that I've learned. Now, I consider myself a lifelong learner. I learn stuff every single day because I'm inquisitive, because I desire to learn more. I also learn from my mistakes, and I've made a few. And I want to get smarter. I want to get better. I want to improve my situation, improve myself, improve my businesses. And I have found that arrogance is what prevents most people from achieving more because they think they know it all. Now, I learned this the hard way because I don't know it all. And I need to implement certain things in both my life and in my business. And that comes from being not arrogant. And it comes from the fact that I don't know everything and I can learn. One of those things is the implementation of a 28-point inspection for both pressure washing, and when I had the lawn care business, we did it there too. I made my technicians knock on every single door of every single customer and offer to have them come with them when they did their pre-inspection. And if they didn't, then we would go line by line on this form documenting absolutely everything, any kind of pre-existing conditions, any kind of damage, anything out of the usual. And of course, that's why we built it into 𝗤𝘂cie𝗁𝗤, which is on the Apple and the Google Play Store, so you can check that out. Sorry for getting off on a tangent, I apologize, but the bottom line, they were a lawn care customer, and we also did pressure washing for them. I had them on the schedule, and one of my pressure washing crews went out, they took care of the house, I sent the invoice, and we don't get paid for a little bit, a couple weeks. So I resent the invoice, and I didn't get any kind of response back. Finally, I get an email back saying that they're not going to pay the invoice because we broke one of their windows. Okay, so this is kind of what I was thinking at the time because I know firsthand that we don't use high pressure, especially when we're spraying a house. There's absolutely no need to. We were downstreaming at the time, which means that there's not going to be a ton of pressure. In fact, it's very low pressure. It's just a chemical application. We let it dwell, we rinse it off. Pretty simple stuff. So there is no way that our process could actually damage or break a window, especially the window that they were telling me about because it was absolutely huge. And I just knew in my gut that there was no way that we could do this. So unfortunately and instinctively, which is not a good thing, I immediately dig my heels into the ground and I get defensive. And I tell them that they are going to pay their invoice, that we did not cause any damage, and that was the bottom line. I wanted my money. Also understand this was a very big house, probably 13,000 square foot house, maybe a little bit bigger. So it was high ticket. And it was not a ticket that I wanted somebody to refuse to pay, especially since I know that we didn't cause any damage. So we went back and forth. They ended up canceling my lawn care company contract. And like myself, they dug their heels in and they refused to pay the invoice for the pressure washing. So I made the call to my lead man for the crew that was handling that account on the lawn care side of the business and told him that he needed to take them off the schedule immediately. Do not service that property ever again. And of course, anytime that I would have that type of conversation with one of those guys, it was typically because we fell short. Our quality was lacking and a customer called to complain, called to cancel, which would make me upset. And then I would have a conversation with the lead person, which was never really an easy or a good conversation for them because when I lose customers, it tends to make me upset. And it's a reflection on me, right? It's a reflection on my business, our name in the market, in the community, and I hate losing customers on quality. So immediately he starts saying, he's telling me that he knows that they have been doing a phenomenal job, specifically at that property, and that he personally goes behind all the guys at every property to make sure that they aren't slacking and that the quality is on point. Now, I distinctly remember him telling me very specific things about that property. One of the palm trees that needed to be pruned, they had to get out an extra ladder and take care of that. Something about the bank going down to the lagoon. There was an alligator on it, and they had to shoo the alligator off so they could take care of the grass. And the last thing that he said was he knew that that property was looking its absolute best and there was no way that they could call and complain about quality. He said the only thing that they could have possibly complained about was when the edger blade hit a rock and it shattered a window.